Well, Ryan Poles gets some reassuring news ahead of the new year as his job is safe, according to Albert Breer on Monday, December 30th. Breer released a statement that's saying that Ryan Poles will be the point man for the head coach search, with Kevin Warren having an influence. But the McCaskies have told inside sources that have gotten to Breer that they want Poles in the driver's seat and give him full trust on the head coach search. So for now, we know who our GM is going to be in 2025, and now it is solely on him to go for the next head coach. I'm here to break it all down and why this is a good and a bad thing, but I'm excited to do so. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Brody, and as always, thank you for tuning in. Now, before I begin today's show, hit that like button if you're excited for this offseason, along with commenting below your thoughts on the choice of keeping Ryan Poles as the general manager and making him the point man of the head coaching search. And do you like free Bears news, content, and notifications? Make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay up to date. And make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your thoughts in the comment section to enter our custom Chicago Bears jersey giveaway. We have one more coming up, and that winner will be announced this Sunday. So, George McCaskey sticks with Ryan Poles. His job is safe. We know that, at least from Albert Breer, from getting his internal sources, and from the McCaskey family, and clearly they have trust in him. And their GM, who they've had for the last 3 seasons, is 14-36 at the moment. And during that time, he's had 1 head coach, 4 offensive coordinators, 2 defensive coordinators, and 8 assistants fired. Does that fall entirely on Ryan Poles? Absolutely not, because Matt Eberflus is the one that hires them. But Poles does have a say, especially when it came to Shane Waldron, who was one of the more recent firings from this staff. Matt Eberflus obviously didn't work out either, but Matt Eberflus was hired before Ryan Poles even came into the building. And then Ryan Poles had a chance to go out and get his own guy after last year, like a Dan Quinn or a Jim Harbaugh, or Poles could have at least gave the offer to ownership and leadership, and it didn't even happen. He stuck with Matt Eberflus, who, again, he didn't even hire himself. And now Ryan Poles gets that opportunity. Clearly, it didn't work out. And then you look at Dan Quinn and Jim Harbaugh, who both just clinched playoff spots yesterday on Sunday, December 29th, which stinks. And the Bears have the number 9 overall pick. But Poles now has full control of this franchise's destiny. He gets a shot to select a guy that he wants to lead this team. And there's a few that he can start interviewing right away. But Poles does have a major red flag that I want to call out, and that he is on the last year of his contract. And if the Bears do fire him after this season, let's say next year just doesn't go very well, which I'm praying it doesn't. We need a winning season more than anything. That means that we're going to have a new GM who's going to want a new head coach, and this whole cycle starts all over again. So it is a big risk, but the McCaskies doing this, something the McCaskies would do. That means that if that does happen, let's say Ryan Poles doesn't work out after next season, Caleb Williams will have 3 head coaches and 5 offensive coordinators in his first 2 seasons in the NFL. That's not how you build success, George. But I will say this, is that Ryan Poles, though I have pointed out that he should be fired, potentially, I give him full trust if he's in the driver's seat because he has done good things. And I'm going to stick to my guns right there, is that he's the general manager and we will continue to support him. So who's on Poles' radar? Because he could start interviewing right now if he wants to. In fact, one of the linked candidates just ended their consulting contract with the Cleveland Browns, and that's Mike Vrabel, former Tennessee Titans head coach, who had a 54-45 regular season record, a 2-3 playoff record, including 1 trip to the AFC Championship, 4 years of 9+ wins, and a 2-time divisional champ. He's a defensive-minded guy, which a lot of folks have voiced that the Bears are going to go with an offensive-minded guy, but Mike Vrabel definitely is a great head coach and leader overall. And I think that if he can get another coordinator that can stick around for a few years, which like a Josh McDaniels, which he has been linked to, who isn't going to be going anywhere, he's a failed head coach twice, it could work out. Another guy that's been linked to the Chicago Bears recently that's expressed interest in coming to the franchise is Pete Carroll, former Seahawks head coach. In 291 games with the Seahawks, a 170, 120, and 1 record, which is pretty darn impressive if you ask me. He's never had less than 7 wins during his time as a Seahawks head coach, 8 years with 10+ wins, 11 years with 9+ wins. Never had an 8-win season, by the way, which I thought was interesting. But along with that, the dude was a playoff machine, 10 times in 14 years that he made it to the playoffs with the Seahawks, 12 of which he walked into the final week of the season still with contention. But his playoff record, 11-11, 2-time NFC champion in 13-14, along with Super Bowl champion in 2013. But we'll see what ends up happening if Ryan Poles wants to go for a head coach like that. But age is not a factor. And I've said that on my my last show. But age is not a factor when it comes to Pete Carroll because this guy can develop players. He's the youngest 73-year-old you'll ever meet. This guy is active. He's smart. He's just engaged. And he constantly finds ways to adapt to the NFL as it changes during his time. But then Ryan Poles can go out and start interviewing coaches after next Monday who are currently coordinators that are either not going to be in the playoffs or in the playoffs. And right now, at the moment, all the guys that have been linked to the Bears as coordinators are going to the playoffs, but the Bears can start interviewing them after next Monday. First one, Ben Johnson, Lions offensive coordinator, top 3 offense the last 3 years, developed various different players, unlocked Jared Goff into being a top quarterback, and overall just a very big fan favorite that the Bears nation wants to bring in. Not only that, another Detroit Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn has been linked to the Chicago Bears, a no BS kind of guy, defensive mastermind the last few seasons, and has developed various different defensive players. I don't see this one happening in interview for sure, but the Bears are definitely going to want to either go with a more experienced guy or a defensive-minded guy. I think Aaron Glenn is a great defensive coordinator and give him one more year before he's head coach ready. But then this one's interesting. Brian Flores, the Vikings defensive coordinator, has been linked to the Bears, has head coach experience during his time with the Miami Dolphins, which he was 24 and 25, but he is a locker room leader. Everyone loves him in Minnesota, one of the best defensive coordinators in the league right now. He knows this division, and he's very interconnected with Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles. For Kevin Warren, during his time with the Minnesota Vikings, billion U.S. Bank, Brian Flores was hired, and apparently the two became very close friends, and Kevin Warren speaks very highly of Brian Flores. Then on top of it, too, Brian Flores was teammates with Ryan Poles at Boston College during their college days. So it's a big factor that there could be that connection there, and there's at least probably going to be an interview. I mean, Brian Flores is a great defensive-minded guy, but from an offensive standpoint, he didn't do very good with Tua. Just want to put that out there. And then the last guy, Joe Brady, the Buffalo Bills offensive coordinator, is a young defensive mind, has done a fantastic job the last 2 years. Has been the number 2 offense since taking over in last year's week 8 for the Buffalo Bills offense. He knows today's NFL. The one thing is a lot of people are worried about his command in the locker room and if he'll be able to do that. So something to factor for the Chicago Bears entering this upcoming offseason. But the Bears are likely to at least give him an interview after this Monday. Now, before I get more into this situation, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Authentico Organic Tequila. Comes in 3 great flavors, family-owned, Chicago-based startup, and women-owned on top of it. It is 100% USDA organic, no additives, and on top of it, it's made in Guadalajara, Mexico. Come support one of the newest and hottest startups in the alcohol industry and celebrate this upcoming holiday season with Authentico. Go to the link in the description now to get 10% off your online order or find Authentico near you today. So I had my words about Ryan Poles, Kevin Warren, and I said to fire everybody. Well, it looks like that's not happening, so we just need to put that to rest. But at the end of the day, Ryan Poles has done a lot of good things for this team, but he also has had some pretty big misses. Velus Jones, Chase Claypool, Nate Davis, a couple other guys too. I think that Poles should have, this whole thing was half-assed backwards. You don't hire your head coach, and then your GM, and then your president. It should be president, GM, and then your head coach. And Flus wasn't Poles' guy. This is the opportunity that Poles can go out and get someone that goes to the roster he put together. Was it a mess the last couple of years? Absolutely. But Poles could be playing chess at the end of the day and saying, I'm going to still build the team I want. I know that it's going to be a good ball club, and I'm going to get my guy in year 4, and we're going to do some good things. That's great. You should have been winning a lot sooner because we need to stop promoting a losing culture. But at the end of the day, I support Ryan Poles still. A lot of overreactions, as you guys know. But I think that he can do a good job for this ball club. He has done good things. And this is his last chance because it doesn't work out. He's going to get fired, and it's just going to start a whole ugly cycle again for coaching, GM, president, you name it. So we'll see what ends up happening, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. But with that, please like this video. If you haven't already, please put your thoughts in the comment section and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's free, and I make you free content. But with that, thank you, as always, for tuning in this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Brody, and as always, bear down, baby.